could just sit on the president's desk forever. That doesn't sound very democratic, does it?
It's definitely a tactic that's been debated a lot over the years. Some people say it gives the president too much power to block laws they don't like, basically ignoring what Parliament wants. Others say it's a tool the president needs to be careful and make sure laws are thought through before they become official.
Wow, that's a tough one. It seems like the pocket veto could be used for good or for bad, depending on what the president is trying to do. It's a good reminder that power can be used in different ways.
Exactly. And it's important to remember that even though these veto powers are strong, they're not unlimited. Unlike in the US, where the president's veto can be overridden by a supermajority in Congress, in India, a simple majority in parliament can overturn a suspensive veto.
Okay, so Parliament still has a lot of control in making laws. That makes sense. But speaking of power dynamics, we've talked a lot about the president. But what about the prime minister? Aren't they the ones who really make the decisions in the government? How does this whole president-prime minister relationship actually work? Who's really in charge?
That's a question that's puzzled people for decades. The Indian Constitution creates this delicate balance between these two powerful figures. The president is the head of state, but they have to follow the advice of the Council of Ministers, led by the prime minister. This idea is written right into Article 74 of the Constitution, which has caused a lot of debate and interpretation over the years.
So it's like a balancing act, with the president having all these powers in theory, but in reality, they're often guided by the prime minister and their cabinet.
That's a good way to put it. In most cases, the prime minister and their cabinet are seen as the ones who really use the executive power because they're accountable to Parliament. But there have been times, like we talked about with President Zail Singh and the Postal Bill, where presidents have shown their independence. They've sent advice back for reconsideration or delayed decisions.
So the president isn't just a rubber stamp, especially when they have strong feelings about something. That's fascinating. It shows that this relationship between the president and prime minister is more dynamic than people might realize.
Absolutely. And this dynamic gets even more interesting when we have a hung parliament, where no single party has a clear majority. In these situations, the president's power to decide becomes really important. They get to choose who they'll invite to form the government, which can have a huge impact on where the country goes next.
Wow, so in times of political uncertainty, the president's role becomes even more important. It's like they become the deciding vote in a high-stakes political game.
Exactly. The Indian presidency is a truly complex and fascinating institution. It's a blend of symbolic authority and real power, a delicate balance between upholding the Constitution and navigating the ever-changing world of Indian politics. And understanding all of this is so crucial, not just for people wanting to be civil servants, but for every citizen who wants to be involved in our democracy.
I have to say, I'm feeling way more informed about the Indian presidency now.
Yeah.
It's definitely not just a boring, symbolic role like I used to think.
Not at all. And this knowledge isn't just for people studying for those UPSC exams. Understanding the president's role is important for every citizen who wants to be informed and involved in our democracy.
I totally agree. It's about understanding how power really works in our country. The checks and balances, how all the different parts fit together.
Exactly. So as you keep learning about Indian politics, here's something to think about. In India today, things are changing so fast, and the challenges are complex. What qualities do you think are most important for a president to have? What kind of leader can handle all of this, protect our Constitution, and represent everyone in our diverse nation?
Ooh, that's a great question to leave our listeners with. It really makes you think about the kind of leadership we need now and in the future. And for those who want to learn even more, check out the show notes. We have links to some awesome resources, even parts of the Constitution itself.
Knowledge is power, and understanding the Indian presidency is a powerful tool for anyone who wants to be part of our democracy.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the Indian presidency. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and keep those brains working.